Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and today the full patch makes an appearance in Battlefield 4 Vanilla, as well as, some goodies for non-premium players from DICE that just keep on coming, providing free content. So right now I'm gonna discuss some of this content, and if you care enough to watch this video, some of the patch changes and what I think about them. Obviously, you might have a different opinion, but um, this is just what I think. Obviously, the free Dragon Valley map and Operation Outbreak, which is the community chosen jungle map, is out today on PC. Now, these things you have to download as a free update to the game, so they're not included in the mandatory full patch. So in order to download these maps separately for free, you must go to Origin and click to purchase them, and they cost $0.00, obviously, and you just download them. And this is actually a good way to do this because some people might have a monthly cap on their internet, like Americans that have pretty shitty internet, whereas most of us, you know, are limited to shitty providers like Comcast to cap our internet. So, for them it might not make sense to download these additional maps at the same time as the patch, and they want to maybe spread out the download. So that's one good way to do it is to, you know, download them separately whenever you want. Now on this map that the Operation Outbreak, by the way, Dice hid a couple of pickup weapons, a big ass M60 that you can pick up from a crashed helicopter's gunner position, and a phantom bow with a poison arrows, which is now free to non-premium players. Now some people might get their panties in a twist about this decision. Particularly after they've just completed all the assignments, to get the Phantom Bow. But personally, I think, the more free content, the better. So, uh, this is arguably a good thing. And anyway, those, poison arrows are really underpowered, so they're not really good at killing people. And we already have the Phantom Bow with the regular arrows in Gunmaster anyway. Now, as far as the patch changes go, well, they've also given us some gameplay changes in the full patch, as I said, which actually appeared quite a while quite a while back in CTE, and I think I did a couple of videos on this. Now, some people might not necessarily agree with changes, as I said, but here they are anyway. Most noteworthy is a change to tank shells, where DICE nerfed the blast impulse of the main gun. Now, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong about this is just how I understand the patch notes, and obviously I can be wrong, but this nerf has nothing to do with the actual damage of the round, whereas, yes, they did actually nerf the damage slightly, which I completely don't understand why, but nerfing the blast impulse is a whole different thing. Now, what DICE actually nerfed was, as far as blast impulse goes, was the ability of the tank shell to flip the things that it hits, i.e., helicopters. So, imagine this: a tank shell hits a helicopter, it's wounded, and it doesn't explode necessarily, but flips and rams into the ground, and therefore you don't get any kill points for it, and this wasn't good for anyone. I mean, the chopper pilot or the tank gunner who scored a doozy of a hit and, got no points for it. So now DICE nerfs the tendency of the shell to flip helicopters, where the damage it does, well, it's slightly less, but that's not what this change is. The impulse, to my understanding, is just the kinetic force of the shell. And I say this because, again, correct me if I'm wrong about this, we had the stationary shotgun type weapons in the last stand DLC a while back, and we basically, what it did on release of this thing in the beta in, CTE, it was basically multiplied, it had multiplied its impulse potential times the amount of pellets that it shot, and the result was that it was basically able to flip OAVs that it hit and toss them around like a toy. So this is arguably a good change as far as the impulse damage goes. Not the direct damage, I don't agree with that change at all, but the impulse definitely is a good change. A useless change to a useless weapon, the AA mine makes the weapon the gadget I should say, a tiny bit more viable. It now does more damage than it did, but because it was completely useless before, it wasn't able to kill anything. It did so little damage. So this is arguably a good change, but still, it's just one of those gadgets that I think has no place in Battlefield. It's useless. There's already 1,000 guns pointed at the helicopters on the battlefield, so I don't think we need 1,001. The AA mine is now also able to be equipped with launchers as an engineer where it wasn't before. So, well, this is arguably a good change. Also, smoke grenades now block FLIR and IRNV scopes, which again some people might see as a bad change, but it certainly was a bit of a nuisance on Operation Clusterfuck. Locker. Now, arguably, bad changes to recon to quote unquote promote PTFOing, where the marksman bonus was removed and replaced with a flat bonus of 25 points. So, no more distance bonus points for you guys. And in my opinion, this is a horrible change. If you were able to put down a 2,000-meter headshot, then man, you deserve every point of that, because that was one hell of a shot. And it's true that some people just camped the mountain on Operation Firestorm and did not play your PTFO at all, but I think the recon, taking away points from the recon, just makes it that much more useless to play, and it's just it makes the recon, it makes me want to play the recon even less. And I think the recons are way underpowered as it is, especially with the scope glare, which pretty much goes against the very idea of any kind of stealth gameplay as far as the class goes, because that's, I think, its purpose, stealth gameplay. Obviously you might have a different opinion of the recons, but I think they're seeing way too much going against them in these kinds of games, in Battlefield 4 especially. It was quite fun to play the recon in Battlefield 3. I just don't like it in Battlefield 4 at all. Now, my poor Shraw got nerfed once again as the damage went down, and god damn it, I do not agree with this change at all. I think if you're, you know, stupid enough as a pilot to get hit with the Shraw in the ass of a helicopter, then, man, well, you deserve to go down, and that's just it. It's one of those skill weapons, I think, that's, um, supposed to be a bit overpowered, because it is not that easy to use. And we're not all Matimio, and we don't, we can't take down choppers with straws right across the map. So I think this was not a good change. Shotguns saw a bit of a nerf where the range was reduced and the pellet count nerfed, and Again, I don't see this as a good change. Shotguns should be OP. They never had good range in Battlefield 4, I don't think. Flares got a buff. In fact, all countermeasures did for air vehicles. Reload time saw a bit of a buff as far as flares and the ECM goes. And as far as the extinguisher goes, it now reloads in only 8 seconds, where it used to reload in something like 25 or 30 seconds before, I think, which, if you think about it, is a very good change, as the extinguisher isn't an active countermeasure. It only puts out a fire and restores mobility, so you can, get the hell out of the danger zone, which, that's an Archer reference, by the way, but that's beside the point. As far as the extinguisher goes, it doesn't actually fix the helicopter, let's say, or restore any health to your helicopter. So, it's only giving you an opportunity to get away from the danger. So, I think this is a good change. Uh, I don't think enough people use the extinguisher anyway before, and this probably will get them to use the extinguisher now quite a bit. Below radar has finally been implemented in the vanilla game for all air vehicles. Now, this is a default perk, so you don't have to equip it in the loadout menu. Uh, and for helicopters, it works below 25 meters, and for jets, it works below 50 meters. It affects all vehicle-based AA missiles, but not manpads or infantry wielding launchers like Stingers. So those will still hit you, if you're in a helicopter below 25 meters. So watch out for those. The damned Starstreak or the HVM2 pickup launcher finally saw a nerf, and I really like this change, as it used to be a one-hit kill on helicopters or jets, even without a laser designator, as you could relock the air vehicle, say a helicopter, even after they popped a countermeasure, because you could, just wait for the countermeasure to pass and relock the missiles, and they would still hit. And was just a nuisance, and I don't think this launcher is a good idea. In fact, I think this is one of those gadgets in Battlefield 4 that has no place to be there in the game at all, because we have so many launchers, and they're just a goddamn nuisance for the helicopters. I think the helicopters should have quite a bit less enemies, and so this is a good change, definitely. And it also got a bit of a nerf to its time to live, so it will run out of fuel and explode faster, or rather go nowhere quite fast. So those are definitely good changes. The 84 launcher got a bit of a buff, which it already was quite good though, but it had a flat flight path, and it was quite fast, so it was a very good weapon. But having only one of them on the map, it's mostly useless, because it's a disposable weapon, and it's not able to one-shot kill a tank, I don't think. So, if maybe they added a second rocket to the launcher, maybe that would give you a bit more opportunity to kill tanks with it. The shotguns got nerfed, as I said. Regrettably, their minimum damage range was reduced, shortened, and the number of pellets was reduced for buckshot and flechettes. For the UTS-15, Psy got 12K, Dow 12, DBV 12, and the M1014. Obviously, the number of slugs were not reduced, because you can't shoot half a slug from the shotgun. Mare's lag saw a bit of a mid-range damage buff to, quote, give it an advantage over the 44. And I mean, whatever they call it, I have no problem with this change. I like the mirror's leg. It's awesome. It looks awesome. It looks so badass. And, pulling off headshots with it is just, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it makes you feel so badass as you put something like a 40 times scope on it and, magnify the game so much you can see the netcode through it. So, those are good changes. The C4 got a slight nerf to its damage and blast radius. Not a fan of this change, to be honest, because I'm a bit of a C4 whore anyway. Um, Active protection got nerfed quite a bit on tanks, and this patch, as far as tanks go, I am really not a fan of. In fact, I think this is a bad change. You know, the I think the active protection was already a tricky thing to use, tricky countermeasure, because it required some tactical thinking on your part. Sure, it was OP because it took any hits and to the tank and basically chewed them up and spit them out. And but you see, the thing is, its uptime was extremely short, namely 5 seconds. So timing it was critical, and if you didn't time it to right before the other tank shot at you, you would still take the hit. Well, now the uptime got reduced even more, mainly to 2.5 seconds. So using it will have to be, pretty much pinpoint accurate activation. And one of the reasons this was done was to not let the tank chew up and spit out the whole rocket run from a helicopter to, just take some of the hits off and then get damaged with the others, which again I do not agree with, because I think if you are smart enough to pop the active protection at the right time, you should be able to negate all the damage from the incoming attack helicopter. And, you know, I just don't see this as anything of a good change, because, again, the active protection reloads in quite a long time, and, using it was the only way to get some hits off you. Now, the only good change that they did to the active protection, in my opinion, is that they took out the red light that was, lit up on the tank as the active protection was in cooldown, letting every engineer on the map know that the tank is vulnerable. And, because we all used to wait for the red light to come on to hit the tanks before, I think this is a good change because it gives you, it keeps you guessing as an engineer, and doesn't put out a big red flashing warning over the tank. It says pretty much shoot me right now because I'm vulnerable, which is a good thing for the tank drivers. The laser designators are now no longer a one-hit kill on air vehicles with, well, laser designation as far as the incoming missile goes. And again, I think this is a dumb change because right now there's even less of a reason to play recon, and I have a feeling DICE has it in for snipers in these FPS games, because they just keep ramming it the snipers and more and more. And by the end of the patching, I think the sniper class, the recon class, is gonna be renamed to just why bother. No one's gonna play with the sniper rifles. Now, conquest points bonus was increased to 400, which is a good thing, and rush points, disarm and destroy MCOMs were also increased to 500, which is a good objective-based change. I think people need to have more of a incentive to play the objective. Now, some engineer launchers have launcher changes have been applied, such as longer lock times for the stinger to give the victim more time to react. slower acceleration, and less damage per missile. The Igla also got an acceleration rate reduced. Its maximum speed got nerfed quite a bit, but surprisingly, it got a damage buff and a better time to leave. So, more range that comes out of it. And also, you can't equip guided launchers while you're in the passenger seat of helicopters now. So, if you're flying in a little bird, you can't equip things like the Igla or the Stinger now. You can still equip the RPG, which is a non-guided dumbfire rocket launcher, but not the guided one. So this is probably a good change, less of a explosive spam in these flying death machines. Grenade resupply times have been buffed back to normal single-digit values. Thank the big developer in the sky. I hated to wait for 25 seconds for a single grenade. That's to resupply to get the grenade back. I think that was completely unreasonable in a fast-paced FPS game like Battlefield 4. I mean, this isn't Arma. I'm not playing one single round for 3 hours, so I'm not gonna wait 25 seconds for a single grenade. Interesting changes to netcode came in this patch. I suggest you watch my video on dusting first to understand why so many problems. We had so many problems getting hit markers on jets after the previous summer patch. But here's what DICE did to improve the situation. You see, in Battlefield 4, there's a frame history time value for everything, so infantry and vehicles, and this is basically the time value that the server uses to accept or deny damage made to the enemy, and show you the hit marker. Obviously, players over certain ping limits will get hits on them denied. So for infantry, obviously a smaller frame history time value is better, and because it gives you less of a window in which the hit can be accepted, improving getting shot around corners, among other things. But ironically, the game got into trouble after the summer patch because the same low frame history time value that was applied to everything across the board, including fast vehicles like jets, uh, this was a problem. This led to problems where hits on jets got denied by the server because although you clearly saw the hits land on on your PC on your screen, the jet already moved according to the server. So, well, Chris from the channel Battle Nonsense has a great video on this. I highly suggest you go watch that video because he is very, very good and technical at explaining the situation a lot better than I can, frankly. Well, Chris basically offered that a solution might be for this for Battlefield 4 to have two different frame history time values. One for infantry, which is very low, like in the summer patch, and one for fast moving vehicles, like jets, which is higher to allow for more wiggle room for the server to accept the hit. And wouldn't you know it, DICE came out and implemented this change in the full patch, giving the infantry keeping rather the infantry with a frame history time of 0.125, and for the vehicles a value of 1 was implemented. So you should now see a lot less dusting on jets. Also, the one good change to come over from Hardline, in my opinion, is the minimap areas around objectives. Well, the minimap changes where the areas around objectives are marked out so that you can basically see what areas you need to be inside of in order to take the flag. And this is also quite useful because you can kind of estimate where the enemy is, from, because if he's taking the flag, you can kind of see where he has to be in order to do that, and where you have already checked in order to, kill him. Also, icons of enemies on the minimap that are smaller or larger than you, depending, those Doritos, the uh, 2D icons on the minimap uh, that are smaller or larger than you, depending on where they are above or below you. This is a very useful change, and quite welcome to see. They've also there have also been quite a few updates to the battle log, most notably that now you have the ability to join 9 platoons, a whopping 9. And also the server browser has a filter option for high tick rate servers. So this is a good thing because many admins were faking and are still faking high tick rate updates in the server name, which when it isn't actually a high tick rate server. So they will put high tick rate servers, in all caps in their name when it's really not. So now you will not have to take their word for it. You can just check if that server is indeed 40 or 60 hertz, and and so on. There's also some network icon changes and network graph overlay improvements, as well as network connection icons for the consoles that saw a bit of a more approachable and obvious look rework. So, as far as the bars go, because they provided some really bad information before, uh, you know, as far as the ping goes that they showed to people. But I've already talked way too much, I think, in this video, and so I'm gonna shut up right now and let you get back to playing much of the free goodies in Battlefield 4. So thanks for watching. Please rate and share this video as it helps my channel grow. Check out my other videos at the end of this one, and remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.